I should do that now during the live.
Oh.
Just chirp people out. I should just like talk to you. Hey man, what's going on? Yeah, what you doing? Yeah.
We are live. How's it going, everyone? Sorry about the lateness. I see we got a bunch of people in here already. Hint Shrimp, sup, dude? This is a bit of a different, oh, can you actually see? Yeah, you can see the face tracker on my camera. I'll fix that the next time. Damn it.
You and your stupid heads-up display crap.
You know what? It's just the, oh, that's going to piss me off, too. You guys like seeing a box around my face?
Oh, just put a bag over your head. Then it won't know what to focus on.
Son of a...
I love it.
All right, let's just gain up the SM7.
Oh my God, that's obnoxious.
What is?
The thing on your head. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
do you
wow.
want me to take care of it?
I don't care. It's not my channel.
All right,
but
I'm going to take care of it. 1 second. Here, entertain them for a second, Dylan.
I thought it was like, because on my Nikon, it's a little tiny little, tiny little white line. Like you can barely see it. And yours looks like a crosshair. Like, looks like you got a sniper on you there. What's going on? That's wild. And now I'm frozen.
Okay.
I'm frozen on the stream.
I just
and
took
don't know.
auto. Yeah, I know. I'm
figuring
working
it
it. This is a whole new setup here, man.
Is that why I can see you got like your laptop there? Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's been so I got the laptop good to go. I got all the OBS set up on the laptop, and I'm running off my main camera, so it doesn't look like I'm running off a really crappy thing anymore. I'm gonna close chat. Okay, and I can use chat off the actual YouTube app. So that's what we're going to do right now.
That's pretty much what obviously I don't have a choice. I have to do it that way.
So we're way behind here.
Yep.
Love you guys. Thanks for holding out. I don't even know how many people are in because of this whole new setup I've got. I've got to get multiple monitors for this, and I don't have multiple monitors for this. So
You going full fancy.
having a rough day with my mom. Sorry to hear that, buddy. That sucks.
That's shitty.
They're talking back and forth. Literally the first time here for this. Asdas, one of the members. Cheers, buddy. Good to have you here.
Dylan frozen. Accurate.
Is Dylan still frozen?
No. I'm moving now. I can see myself.
Okay.
moving.
All right. As long as you're still moving.
It's just freezed on like the dorkiest facial expression, which I know describes like 90% of my library of facial expressions. But it was funny. I enjoyed that.
I got to say, I like this view of me a lot better. Man, you got to get a DSLR, Dylan.
Oh, yeah, I got to buy one. I don't know where I'm going to find one of those.
Dimebag. Oh, yeah. All you need is the great thing is the cam.
I was being sarcastic. I have all of these things.
You
I
got
just
the
don't.
Elgato Cam Link?
I don't have. The one thing is that the way the Nikon's set up is like it would burn well, it would have to be mirrorless because the camera after a certain amount of time it will shut off if it's not recording.
As long as you have the battery and you can turn the shut off.
I am not on the Nikon.
Oh no. Okay.
No, that it limits it to like straight up like 25 minutes.
On the Canon. Hey, Dimebag, Darren, how's it going?
I haven't seen that name in a while.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, this whole setup is completely like jigged together. It's ridiculous how like I had to put together my own wire here for the wired internet because I wasn't going to run off Wi-Fi. I had to put everything together right before this. Well, I had a guy doing my furnace. We had to test the furnace out, so it's ridiculously hot in the house now. But the furnace is installed. I think that's
there. You
good.
go. Yeah, that's a good thing to get doing now rather than 2-3 months from now.
Dimebag, I'm on a Canon T7i. This is the camera that I use for my videos. It's 1080p, but it's great. I absolutely love the Canon T7i. I haven't settled on an A10 Mini. I want to get an A10 Mini, but in order to have an A10 Mini, you got to have multiple cameras. So one of these days, I am actually going to get the multicam setup because right now for overhead shots, I use my my cell phone.
Oh, really? I thought you had little GoPros or something.
I didn't like how
wide it was.
It's warped, man. And like, if 4K is
It's
great,
like my webcam.
My phone does 4K, so the GoPro experiment kind of died quickly. But the phone does great, and you can shoot. Well, it's kind of fake HDR, but then I don't do any of my videos in HDR because what needs to be in HDR? Everything behind me is dark. So, hey guys, I unboxed a Lumatone today. Took a week for it to get me in Toronto. Oh, Estes, you're in Toronto, buddy.
You're in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, into GTA. Actually, funny enough, I'm going to be on the radio.
What? Radio morning show host is on the radio?
I'm going to be doing the Toronto morning show for Element FM 106.5. So if you're in the GTA and you want to actually listen to how stupid I can sound early in the morning, you're going to get a chance to hear how stupid I can be early in the morning in Toronto. 106.5 starting Tuesday through Friday.
Shameless plug.
Going to be running solo. Well, it's not a shameless plug for anything, really. I mean, I already get paid, so
yeah.
Listen or don't.
Listen or die.
Nope. I'm in California. It came from Toronto. We're not all perfect. Bang.
Listen
says,
online.
How wide was it? How wide it was. That's what she said. Yeah. GoPros. As much as you set them up, I wanted the 4K for zoom capabilities. But when you're fully out, it was just too warpy on the edges. And
the other problem too, like I don't mind like this. The only thing that bugs me about this webcam, and it's certainly better than the last one I have, is it does this weird color adaptation thing where like I'll move a certain way and it's like it locks onto a certain light source and uses it to like white balance, and suddenly like the whole like just now. It just got really purple all of a sudden. Yep. I just moved like a quarter of an inch. And I don't know, it just makes me laugh more than anything. But like,
your face goes to from a blue to a purple.
Yeah, because I got two lights behind me and the camera's confused which one it wants to use to reference. But like, I find with me, the way this room is designed is not like, I can't accommodate where that camera is. I can't accommodate a DSLR there. It's just.
Yeah, it's tough. Also, you need a super wide lens. Like I've got.
Especially I've got an APS-C camera, so it would have to be like a 22.
Like, well, I've got an 18 and it's still a 25.
I already need to get a 22 because I mean I love my 50, my 1.4. It's my pride and joy, but I have to be 60 feet away, from the source.
And you can still pick out all of these pores on your face with it. Yeah, no, I know that feeling too well.
Yeah.
Bang says an A6400 or an A6550. I'm going for the A7C when I actually get around to upgrading that. But that's a $4,000 purchase. I'm assuming we're talking Sony here. Yeah, the Sony A7C.
Yeah, if I was to get a mirrorless, I'd say just because mainly it's designed for video. That's number one. Number two, the autofocus is amazing. Because it doesn't do that annoying thing that Canon and Nikon does, that like the hunt and peck, like the.
It'll still do it, but I mean,
because it actually uses. I was reading one of the brochures. It uses CBR.
Oh, does it use CBR?
Yeah, it uses an actual proximity detector. It uses similar to what like the new iPhones do. Like my iPhone Pro uses LiDAR.
Yeah.
So.
Your audio's wigging out, man.
Wigging out?
Yeah, not exactly sure. Yeah, that's a
wigging out.
Big boy budget indeed. That said, one actually relatively big thing that came about, and something that a lot of people are going to want to know about is going to be doing a giveaway. Coming
already dropping the news.
Well, you know what? This is the thing. So I've partnered with a company out here in Canada that's one of the largest distributors of stuff. Now, that said, they're one of the largest distributors of musical instruments and musical stuff, which I was like all fired up. I'm like, yeah, this is huge. And then I look and I'm like, well, they only work with Arturia. So one of the new Arturia minis, they're sending me one and they want me to do a review and a giveaway on it. So I'm going to be doing just that. So make sure if you guys are looking for, like, as far as I can tell, everything Arturia has released has been fantastic. I'm going to be rather blown away if they drop the ball on this one. That said, they've told me that I've got full sway over review. They actually just got back to me today and said, they don't care about whether or not I give a bad review to something. They just want me to review stuff. So
They want you talking about it. They want the hype. Good or
Dimebag
bad?
says, give it away now. I can't. I've got to have it in hand before I do a full giveaway. I'm going to try to get set up with, now this is going to be some great odds. I do, some videos take off right away. Some videos kind of middle around for the first little while. And it's going to be a 2-week giveaway. So it's probably going to be in the middle of November when it happens. And I'm just saying, watch for that Arturia video. I don't know how YouTube deals with giveaways. I've heard YouTube doesn't like them. And because I'm not a big content creator, this could be interesting. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do it through my Twitter or not. So
Hearing that gives me some not so happy words that I have for YouTube that I will refrain from saying.
about YouTube?
Yeah.
No, you know, it's to be expected. YouTube doesn't like, because, you know, I mean, it's,
YouTube doesn't like anything that takes the attention off of YouTube.
yes.
Basically.
And I'm going to look into
And that goes
Gleam.
for every social media platform.
I'm going to
by the
look
way.
into Gleam. That's what a lot of these people use. A lot of YouTubers use to give stuff away, because it's, I don't touch, I'm not hands-on. I don't get to pick who wins it. It's just, yeah. So
Now, if you went on your channel and you said, "Hey, everybody, if you become a member, you'll get a free thing from us every month." YouTube might take a bit of a different,
yeah, and that's
a
the
bit of a different
Like,
approach.
that's the thing, right? Like, I was gonna, you know, I was talking to this distributor about ways. I wanted to originally do like a 12 days of Christmas and have 12 videos throughout December that all counted down till the one of those things we're gonna give away. Ooh, kind of like a radio.
which
style,
which
right?
one is it? Yeah, which
Yeah,
one is it
and
going to be?
which
We
one
don't
is it?
know.
Build up the, and they're like, "Wow, no, here's the Arturia. Just give that away." So as soon as it comes in, I will be. It's going to public comment right now. You do get giveaways a lot on YouTube, Dimebag. Really? All right. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to look into it a bit more. It's going to be Gleam.io, I think it's called. And I'm going to be going through that. So stay tuned for it. I got to say, with the amount of views that my videos get, it might, you know, you might be 1 in 100 shot of getting this, or 1 in 300, or however. I think my standard views per video are about 300 if it's not a searchable product. So we'll see. Could also be that this thing blows up on Twitter. And because I do know that Ericsson Audio, which is the one in Canada here, they're going to be promoting it on their Twitter as well. So make sure, just watch out for that video and get in on it if you can. Susan Kaczynski can kiss my grits. Well, that is just, you know, she's listening, Hinter Shrimp. Why did you say that?
So I have an interesting thing that I want to do. So I had a number of things that I wrote down to talk about this week, and I want to do a little crowdsourcing. I want to put our brains together, and because I've got a problem and I need a solution.
All right.
So I need an interface. I'm in the market for a new interface.
Yes.
It's got to have some very specific requirements. Number one, because it's replacing something. It's replacing something that's old. That's it. It's replacing a DigiDesign MBox 2, which was not my main interface. It's pretty much, it's relegated to being a Windows sound card. But the way that this machine is designed, I need a machine that the audio software uses, and I need a machine that everything else uses. That's kind of how it works. That's the best stability. So here's what it needs to have. Let's get some suggestions. So it needs to have, I don't care about mic pre's. I don't need mic pre's. I need line-ins. It needs to have at least two line inputs. It needs SPDIF output.
Okay.
Right? So it needs a SPDIF RCA output. It needs, what else? Headphones. And most interfaces have headphones. That's not a huge deal. USB, preferably bus-powered, if possible.
Okay.
And doesn't need optical out, but either SPDIF or optical out. I can deal with both.
All right.
And then the last point, which I'm forgetting, word clock input. Word clock
Does
input.
Apollo have word clock?
And MIDI. Needs MIDI in and out. So DIN 5180 ports on the back. So it needs these things. I've been looking at a lot of things, and I've looked at like the first line I went to, because I just need something really inexpensive that's reliable. So I went to the Scarlett lineup. And I looked at, and like every one of them, either it's got MIDI ports and no SPDIF, or SPDIF but no MIDI ports, and like, or I ended up looking at like the Scarlett like 18i20 or something, and it like had everything. I'm like, but this is so overkill. That's the other thing. I don't want it to be massive. I don't need more than 2 channels.
Okay, so, well, you can get more. AudioFuse Studio, dude. It has everything.
Yeah, but it's too big.
It's tiny.
And it's desktop. I don't need shit on my desk.
It's this big. You don't even have to put it on your desk.
You said AudioFuse Studio. That's the big one. That's the one you have.
It's this big.
It's
You're
still
not looking at me, are you?
no, because it's
literally
going to
less
be.
than a foot long.
Yeah, I don't
It's
have
fucking
desk
tiny.
space. I've got enough shit. It needs to live in a rack. Well, it needs to be able to sit vertical, or not vertical, like a horizontal sort of.
So it has to be rack mount?
Not rack mount. Because in this, the MBox 2 right now is sitting on a tray.
You can mount this thing to a freaking wall if you wanted.
Yeah, if I wanted, it's not my place though. I don't want to.
Because you're only using it for I/O. Like, you're not using it for. I mean, your headphones are going to be plugged into it, but you're not going to be sitting there controlling with the box, are you?
No. It's gonna
Then
basically
just
sit
put
and
it in
and sit there mostly as a format
But
converter.
This is
90%
one of the
of the time.
cheapest ones you can get, and you can stick it in your rack on top of whatever.
It's like $800.
No, it's more than that. That's
Exactly.
800
How's that
US.
cheap as you can get?
Well, you're not with all of those functionality. Yeah, the 18i20 has everything, but then
And it's cheaper.
You're an 18i20.
Yeah, I've got 18 mic pre's I'm not going to use. That's the main thing. I don't want to waste stuff. So right now I'm kind of sitting on a couple of
There's
options.
The Audio Fuse, the original Audio Fuse, a tiny little box that's like 6 inches by 6 inch, has all of that as well. And you can find those online.
Yeah, there's a few. Like I could go without a word clock input. I'd like to have a word clock input, but I don't need it. But
all
definitely
of that stuff is on Audio Fuse, dude.
the non-negotiable is SPDIF coax and MIDI.
Spitif coax. Okay, yeah. Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
Spitif
which
coax,
is
yeah.
just RCA, right?
Yeah.
There's two. So this is the other thing. This is great tie-in. So any I've been looking at the comments. Any suggestions in here? 18i20.
18i20. PreSonus has the MIDI, but PreSonus is probably off of the.
Yeah.
Word clock is what literally narrows the field down to very few things.
Oh,
And
yeah.
As far as I'm
We're-
concerned, the Audio Fuse and the Audio Fuse Studio. The Audio Fuse, I think, is like $700.
Yeah.
And it's a tiny little box. The problem is it's a little heat source as well. Like
Which
it
again,
gets hot.
if I have to, but at the same time, like I'd feel dumb dropping $5,000 in an interface next year, which I'm planning on doing, and then having to spend another $800 for literally something that amounts to like a sound card, basically.
Well, yeah, but with all of those things, your sound card, you're not going to get a 2i2 that has that stuff.
No, and so the reason why I'm looking, because I looked at, obviously I'm pretty resourceful. If I can find any option to do something that's easier, so I tried actually using, because the motherboard that I bought actually gets touted as having pretty good audio. So I plugged in my headphones in because I'm like, if I can just, because it's got optical out, it's got digital output on the. So I'm like, okay, well maybe I can make this work. The only thing is the line input. It's stereo line in, yay, but it's noisy as hell. It's not even CPU noise, so it's well shielded. But obviously the preamps that they've chosen, which is hilarious because it's a line input, it really doesn't need a lot of preamplification. But I tried doing some test recordings into it, and not great.
Hint
Not
of
great.
Shrimp says, I don't know what a Spitif is, but it sounds fancy. It's actually not that fancy.
Sony
Dylan.
Philips digital interface. Yeah, it's consumer digital audio. Generally, it's two channels, either 44.1 or 48K, that goes either over a Toslink FO5 cable or an RCA cable.
And Toslink are the really nice, expensive ones, like the Toslink connectors.
So
are
let's
like $30
let's
a
talk
piece.
about that a little bit, because I had an argument with somebody this week who didn't know what they were talking about.
Usually how it goes. Okay.
About the difference between, it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm this gets on my nerves. I'm one of these people. Like if somebody tells me, yeah, I was using my Apple, it's like, no, you were using your Mac.
Your Apple device.
Yeah,
maybe,
you're using your Mac. Shut up. I'm like, I'm like, be specific. So like this week I had a conversation with somebody about optical, and they're like, you just gotta use you just gotta use, what the fuck did they say? You gotta use SPDIF, or you gotta use Toslink. I'm like, what protocol though? They're like, well, the Toslink protocol. I was like, Toslink is not a protocol.
No.
Toslink is a series of connectors on a piece of glass or a piece of fiber. That's what I said. The format is a SPDIF optical, and they're like, well, what other format is there? I'm like, ADAT light pipe for a start. You idiot. It's kind of like DB25 can either be D-sub or it can be TDIF or Tascam digital interface, right? Both the same connectors used for both things. And it's like, there's a lot in the business. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like even MADI, right? Like MADI optical, it's a standard protocol, but MADI connectors can have 4 different types of connectors. They can have SC, ST.
So Toslink is the connector?
Yeah, Toslink is the
Yes.
cable.
That's and those connectors are like their cables are ridiculously priced, right?
Not really. You can get a Toslink cable for like $12.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Because I had to replace a Toslink cable.
I mean,
at work.
a good one. I generally would don't.
because it was like 10 gig, I believe.
So here's something I also just on the topic of Toslink connectors. So the cable is actually an FO5 cable. That's like the category of optical cable, and then the connectors are the Toslink connectors. But they just call them a Toslink cable. Yeah. Kind of like how audio cable with RCA connectors on it is called an RCA cable. So it's another stupid thing I have to rant about. Why does an optical cable have gold-plated connectors? I was on Amazon.
For money, yeah.
I was on Amazon looking at that and like, okay, there are reasons why a semiconductor cable would have, mainly because gold doesn't tarnish like copper does.
Yes.
So that said, it's not as durable. So I will always say if people are plugging stuff in using cables for a permanent installation or a mostly permanent installation, get gold plated if you can. But for everybody else, you're gonna, unplugging it multiple times, you're gonna rip off all that gold plating anyway. But I saw these Toslink cables. They're optical cables. They have gold plated connectors on them. It's
the light goes through the light goes through the gold better, man.
Apparently, like I just thought that was the most ridiculous come on. And again, I've seen so many come ons, monster cable, right?
Yeah.
By
the way, Red Cabin says Tascam Series 102i USB audio and MIDI interface.
Okay, hang on. Let me
look that up. On the
what was that? Read that out to me again.
The Tascam Series 102i. What that should be all you need.
Yeah.
USB MIDI interface.
Cool.
I do have the Tascam Mixcast 4 or whatever it is. It's on the way actually. It's also going to be coming through. I've got Rode sending me the Rodecaster Pro, so we're going to be able to do side-by-sides on that. Finally getting the Rodecaster Pro for the studio. I didn't want to spend the money on it. Too much? What? I mean, I've got enough interfaces.
Again,
it's going to be an interface that sits on my
So just
shelf.
so people don't get mad, we're not shitting on the Rodecaster Pro.
No.
We just personally, for our use cases, don't have enough use to justify the value.
By the way, I am live streaming with an SM7B going through a cheap $99 Evo 4. So
That doesn't sound bad, actually.
No, and anybody that tells me that you can't live stream with an SM7B, you need...
You can. You just need...
Cloud Lifter.
What are you going through right now?
The Evo 4. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, you said it.
Just straight through.
The Evo 4 though, that's Audient though, right?
Yeah, but it's
okay.
It's a $99 interface.
Yeah, but it's Audient. They know what they're doing.
It's but anyone like this is basically the same specs for EIN as you would get out of a 2i2. It's got the same game range as a 2i2. It's all of that, and I'm live streaming with
What are
OBS.
the features? What are the features of the Evo 4? What does it have on it?
It has this, the only feature outside of what every interface has is 2i2. It's 2 in, 2 out. It's got this auto level feature, so you'll never peak. So you just talk in normal volume, you click that button, talk in normal volume, and it will level you. It'll kind of basically...
It's basically going to try to adjust the preamp and normalize what you're saying.
It basically.
Now, if you've got a really
EIN and a little light on the game, but not Horde, and this is how it sounds. I'm sorry, all of these people that are like, no man, you need a cloud lifter if you've got an SM7B.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Right. So it sounds good right now. It sounds good.
And
I can
is more
admit
than
that.
6 inches away from my mouth, by the way.
Here's the thing. You're never, ever, ever with an SM7B going to send someone a VO like that. It's going to be compressed. No. It's going to be EQ'd. And guaranteed with that interface you're using, as soon as I would go to try and... Actually, let's try that. After the stream, send me a clip of you talking into it, and I want to process it, and I want to see what the noise floor...
no. We know what the noise floor...
I'll give it a pass. If I can use RX spectral denoise, and I can wipe out the noise floor to the point where it's not really noticeable, hey, I'll give it a pass.
Well, what do you guys think? What do you think it sounds like? Now, my headphones are blasting right now. So, but I can see my levels.
You were quite quiet when you first called me.
Yeah, my levels right now are fine. I don't have any issue. I'm just touching the yellow on OBS. That's all I care about. I don't see any issues with this whatsoever.
No,
So
that sounds good.
you can peek. It just sets the gain once for you. Yeah, it's one of these. I didn't look into it too heavily. It's a bit of it's a clunky system anytime. And I love the concept of the small interface like Evo 4 is, because it's tiny. It doesn't take up much room. Like for me doing a live stream, this is perfect for me. But because it's so small, you only have you have to press which button you want to interface with. You have to then the big knob turns the volume for it. And then it's a bit
kind
of a pain in the butt.
It's kind of interesting because I look at manufacturers like Audient is the way that they can. I like Audient. I like them as a company. Their quality is good, generally speaking. But generally, a company will come up with a product and it'll fit into a certain market segment, and then they'll have another product that's $1,000 more expensive that sits in another market segment. They already have the ID22, line of interfaces. Why did they need something cheaper? The ID series is already pretty cheap.
Yeah, but this is entry level. And it's great. Actually, Quebecer says post on Twitter. I'm wondering. Okay, you know what? I'll do that. I'll post some welcome Midnight Wolf. I'll post some audio up on Twitter.
You got a lot of members. I've seen it's 3 or 4 people that have seen the green.
I've got 3 members so far, and I'm still trying to figure out what to I was kind of hoping to have a decent group of members before we did some member live streams, so I'm not live streaming for 2 or 3 people.
2 or 3 people. Well, hey, benefit before before the members thing gets crazy, maybe you could do a Zoom call.
Well,
right?
I want
4 or 5 people on a Zoom call is very manageable.
Red Cabin says, "Do you need SPDIF in or out or both?"
Just out.
Just out. That's probably easier. It is plastic and wobbly, by the way.
You're plastic and wobbly.
The Evo 4 does have some I don't like the build quality. Like I said that in the video that I did on it. It feels the plastic is incredibly cheap. A lot of people shit on Zoom for having the cheap plastic. I don't think Zoom is cheap plastic. Plastic. This
Zoom
is cheap plastic.
I always thought the Zoom stuff, I read some article, the Zoom is, I thought it was carbon fiber reinforced. I thought it was actually quite skookum.
Yeah, it's nice. I wasn't the P8.
I wouldn't want to drop it.
No, the P8, I saw, I forget who it was. I think it was Curtis actually scratched the surface. He scratched some of the finish on the P8 just by taking it out of a drawer. And that's annoying. But at the same time, it's it doesn't when you hold the Evo, you're oh yeah, that's cheap plastic. It bends. You can push on it and that's the only thing. But I mean, it's so freaking dirt cheap and sounds great. It's hard to argue with that. It's really hard to argue with dirt cheap and sounds great.
Yeah, so. And that's it. I'm a fan of that as much as I'm a fan of expensive stuff that sounds great. Hey, if you can find it for cheaper and put food on the table, that's great too.
I ripped the 1/4-inch tap out of the back of my Zoom H4. How'd you rip that out?
Intentionally? Were you that mad at it?
This is my Zoom H4, and I don't it has a rubberized feel to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's grip. It's got a good grip.
Or this is my H5. Sorry.
Oh, the H6. You're talking about the H6.
Yeah, but still, the H6 is still it's got the same build quality as the H5.
I have the H6. I have the H6. It's good. I wouldn't want to drop it because the screen, for some reason, to me seems a little more fragile on it. But
ooh, Quebecer, holy crap! Me and the boys are thinking about dropping 2,000 to 3,000 on a podcast live stream. We are 3 to 4 people. Any recommendations for a full setup? Okay.
Oh, I love these questions.
No.
I love these.
I have, torqued it a bit much there. No kidding, Nasdaq. Quebecer, first thing we need to know out of you, if we're going to give you recommendations on this, are you looking video as well? If you're looking video, that changes the dynamic of everything.
Everything.
Well, no, because you can do great video off a phone. If you have a phone that was released in the last 4 years, you'd want the phone to have a decent amount of space on it. That's the one thing. Yeah, well, it depends on how long your podcast is. But
if it's a whatchamacallit.
I've got a Note 10 with 250.
I was going to say if it's an Android, that's easy. You just get a micro SD card. If it's an iPhone, a little harder.
Yeah, Rodecaster Pro, I would have to say, yeah, now that they have multi-track and you can use it as an actual interface without using shitty third-party drivers. A
What?
Rodecaster Pro.
We're recommending the Roadcaster?
Yeah, I even said
No.
that. No,
Yeah,
like
no, I have to agree for what it is as a turnkey solution.
until I get the Mixcast 4, which is really promising, except for the I can't verify online that the Mixcast 4 allows you to record multi-track on a PC as an interface. The Mixcast 4, however, like I would hold off on this, Quebecer, because the Mixcast 4 has its own DAW. And the DAW looks actually pretty decent. You can put all the plugins in with it, everything. The DAW looks better than Audacity. So I would hold off on the Rodecaster Pro. Just wait. I'm going to be getting that Mixcast 4 in very soon. So otherwise, you can't go wrong with the Rodecaster Pro. So
I'm suggesting the mic part of that.
I already fed the dogs. Love?
because I sure as hell didn't.
Cool. I would say, so they already have video set up. We're just looking for mics and audio. Okay. So if you're looking,
That makes life a little easier.
if you have 2,000 to 3,000 for a podcast, let's just say we're going with the Rodecaster Pro. That's pretty simple. For microphones, you don't have a shit ton of gain on a Rodecaster Pro. Keep that in mind. However, the included processing does help a lot. Like the compression on it really does help. You don't need quite as much gain. I should get this microphone closer because it's not really loud.
Buy 6 MKH 416s. Don't do that.
Don't do
that. No. For mics, like, how's the room? Is it a treated room?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like, are you sitting in a blank living room?
Yeah, because then dynamic. But if not, I've got some good condenser.
I would say RE320. That's like flat out, like Bangs just said RE320.
You just like it because it's black. That's why you like it.
Well, no, you can get the RE20 black too. The RE320 sounds fantastic. I have videos on it comparing it to the SM7B, and it's cheaper. It doesn't nowhere near as gain hungry as an SM7B either.
Yeah, well, it's also got a transformer in it. That's why.
Yeah, but it sounds good. I mean, for a podcast mixed down to 128 kilobits per second to go up on Google.
Yeah, you don't need an SM7. That's definitely overkill.
So
if you're going dynamic for sure, you're gonna need to process it a little more.
They are bright, yeah, but that's the thing. It depends on what your signal chain is. Are you going to be running the processing off the SMs or off the Rodecaster Pro? Are you going to be pre-producing it before you put it out? So are you going to do, compression, all that stuff post? Because if so,
I generally would, but
yeah, like Beresford Productions has a good SM57 for everybody with a windscreen or an SM58.
Yeah, 58.
I don't like the broadcaster, the Rode Broadcaster.
No, I'm not a huge fan of it.
I also do not go down to the pod mic, please. The pod mic sounds.
Well, you don't like the P4 or not the pod? What am I saying? P4.
The PodTrack P4, Zoom PodTrack P4 is also. If you want to save money, the PodTrack P4 is fantastic. It does everything.
Yeah, and it's cheaper than the Rodecaster.
Yeah. Get Rode. Do not bang. Stop it with the Rode pod mics. Do not get Rode pod mics.
Just kidding.
Pod mics sound like so bad. Now that said, you can do a lot with them with some compression and EQ.
Better or worse than the Pile?
Oh, they're better. Like they're probably
the XM1800S.
It was better than the pod mic was better than the AT2040.
Yeah, but that's the AT. That's not saying a ton.
Yeah, but it's the same price. Like actually, the AT2040 is more expensive if I recall. I think it's it's $100 US. So newer NW7.
I was just gonna say, just get the newer, and I was gonna wait for you to slap that down.
Yeah, let me know what you end up getting, Quebecer. I'm actually kind of curious about that.
Honestly, if you're in a well-treated room, the Sennheiser MK4, the Sennheiser Mark IV, as a condenser mic, it's $300. It's a great mic.
Yeah. I was about to buy one. I was up at Steve's Music and I almost pulled the trigger on it. I'm like, not yet.
Yeah, honestly, it's funny. The MK8, it's kind of like the difference between an RE20 and an RE27.
Yeah.
Like the MK8's like, it's virtually identical.
Yeah.
So it's a good condenser. It's only $300. Again, the Perception series AKG also, again, they're all condensers. So
Yeah.
don't buy them unless you're in a good room.
Yeah, and you're not sitting side by side. You're gonna have bleed into each mic.
Yep, there's that too.
nobody's
Like how
business.
big of a podcast? How many people are we dealing with here?
3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay, so you could have 90-degree angles. That's good.
Pod mics roll off at 13 kilohertz hard, yeah. Hint of Shrimp, do y'all have anything to say about the Scarlett 2i2? I understand if you don't. I'm just curious.
It's a great interface.
It's a fantastic interface. 3rd gen is your best bet. Don't go lower.
Any gen, I'd say.
No,
I mean,
first
if
gen was rough.
first gen, yeah, because at first gen anything is generally rough. Second gen's fine. It's just big, and 3rd gen is nice because it's tiny.
Quebecer says, sadly, it's an untreated room for now.
Okay, yeah, go 320.
Yeah.
320. Yep.
RE320. Trying to think of anything in that general range. Like honestly, if you're not worried about the looks, an SM.
I was gonna say the SM58 is great, but
Yeah.
you're on video, so you'd probably want to get a little bit of that sex appeal.
Yeah. Booth Junkie hates the 27ND. Yeah. I don't mind. Like I've worked with the 27ND. It has more gain than the 20. What is it? 5 dB more. I do find that the sibilance on it is a little worse. So I mean, it all comes down to what you want.
This 2i2 is like a million times better than most of Behringer's offerings.
All of Behringer's offerings.
Not quite. The X32 interface is not bad.
I'm guessing he's not picking the X32 up though.
No, I'm guessing it's probably what's that? What's the Behringer interface that we were talking about at one point? The XM or the U
Q502.
Some weird, it's just garbage.
It's such garbage. It comes stock with 15 watts of or 15 volts of Phantom. You have to actually go into software to switch it to 48 volts. Like, what the hell is that? That's garbage.
So this is an interesting point. So Phantom, for those that don't, so Phantom's spec is or the default spec that power supplies that provide Phantom are supposed to provide 48 volts, but Phantom powered mics and preamps and DI boxes and whatnot are actually designed. The spec for Phantom power is designed to accommodate a pretty wide range of voltage because if you have, like, for example, I have a board here that has a single Phantom power rail for all of the mic pre's. And as soon as you plug in one mic, it gets loaded down and your voltage drops down to 44 volts. Yep. So if you have a board that's fully loaded with condenser mics, you might have Phantom power drop down to like 28 volts. And Phantom power mics are supposed to be able to operate on that voltage.
No, they can operate. They're just the output
is going to be lower.
Big time. So,
and especially on a Behringer, you don't want the output to be low.
I was running that Q502 on my morning show, and I had the NT2A, and I was like, gee, why is the gain so crap? And I thought the NT2A was dying. No. It was just the Q502 that was only providing 15 volts, which kind of sucks. The other thing, by the way, I want to point this one out, and I want to be the one to point this out because no one else has. About a year and a half ago, I released a video. I was playing around with doing podcast news. I was doing like a podcast news network, PNN I called it. And I did like the whole, this is PNN. Yeah, it was fun. Like, no, I think there's a field for it. There's an actual guy, James Cridland, out of Australia that does it. He actually has a whole newsletter and everything up. He's just starting to play with YouTube. And I asked him if he wanted to, and he said no. But the idea was simple. I was doing like, these are the news of the week with podcasts. Anyways, one of the things I did, I also did a video about YouTube taking over the podcast space. Because right now, if you want to have a podcast, you've got to get an RSS feed. You've got to host your audio on a website. You have to pay for that, and then you have to set it all up. But YouTube does this with video already. So they host the video. So you upload the video. They host it. They give it out. They've got an algorithm. And my thing is I was saying YouTube is going to do the same thing with podcasts eventually. Eventually, they're going to offer up their service to be the host and algorithm for podcasts. I said that. That was a year and a half ago. And guess what's coming through the rumor mill? YouTube podcasts.
Well, they're just trying to steal. I mean, I think there's been a lot of, especially with the big Joe Rogan Spotify acquisition that was up in the like 8 figures.
Yep.
I think suddenly big companies, when they saw that deal come across, they're like, "Huh, there's money in podcasts." Because I hate to tell
Right?
you, but the average person does not associate podcasts with revenue,
Yeah.
unless
Well,
you're in the business. Most people don't
yeah.
think that.
Most podcasters don't make money though. That's the thing.
It's true.
It's
like
the
the
same
top
thing with
1%.
YouTube. But here's the thing with YouTube. If YouTube did podcasts, imagine they had their own AdSense for
Yep.
podcasting.
Yeah.
You could make, as long as you had a certain amount of subs, you could make money on your podcast.
Yep.
It makes so much sense. And they also have the server room for audio.
Yeah, and you don't even need to, right now people tend to bake in any sponsorships right into the podcast. YouTube could just serve those up.
Okay, I've got to hold on because Bangs is being a pain.
I'm
at the
like
moment.
seeing this
Yeah.
thing rip through here.
Okay, so I was wondering what one could get for a wireless lapel mic for use with Facebook Live on an iPad. It isn't for me, but a family member selling products and needs cheaper, better mic than the iPad. Bangs
That's
has
not
you
saying
covered.
much.
The Rode Wireless Go 2
Yeah.
is a great.
Yep.
The Rode, just use the actual Rode Wireless Go though. Pin it to your lapel. The mic's on. Those are great. Do not get the lapel mic by Rode. It's not that great. Susan Wiki can bite me. Okay. The phantom power voltage is dependent on the ability of computers bus as well as IF bus powered. Yes. As well if bus IF bus
I was
powered.
going to say, I don't have anything that's really that uses phantom wireless bus powered. It's all
Yeah.
power supply. So it's at that point, it's up to the limitations of the power supply.
Midnight Wolf. Cheap as possible. Deity has a really cheap lapel mic, or at least they used to. Yeah, and Deity's great. Deity's not going to bust the bank. It will do it. Bangs, no. I am not going to say a name of a respected government employee if you type it in chat. I don't want to get demonetized.
We're not getting yet. I'm not getting into that.
Sean Webb says Pulp Fiction Square. I'm not sure what that's referencing, Sean, but is this what this live stream has come down
Turned
to?
into.
Yeah, Google and podcasting changes strategies more often than my cat hits the letterbox. But you know what though? Google is the first one to put stuff in a graveyard. When they had the Google, what was it, the audio thing they had? What was it? Google. Oh, I can't even remember the name. Then it went to Google or YouTube Music, and they took everything.
Right,
over and they
Google Play.
Google
Google
Play.
Play.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Google Play turned into YouTube Music, and then they realized, oh wait, people want to listen background. We can do that because we do that with Google Podcasts. So, okay, YouTube Music can now play background, and then they're like, wait a second, Google Podcasts play in background, YouTube plays in background. Wait, why not YouTube Podcasts? Which I've been saying all along is going to be a thing, because one of the biggest problems with owning a podcast is the hosting fees.
Yeah, it can get costly.
It's $20 a month for decent.
Yeah,
So-
and then if you get it, well, mind you, if you're getting a shit ton of traffic, you should be able to afford better hosting anyway.
Your cat hates you? Oh, that's mean. Yeah, my cat does actually hate me. It will not demonetize you. It ends the live stream. I don't want to end the live stream. I'm having
Yeah,
fun.
why would we want to do that? We're having a good time.
It does. I got a Deity S Mic 2S. I've been thinking about getting the Deity S Mic 2S. I've heard a lot of things about it. The problem I've had is I've heard there's different stories going around about them requesting reviews from people in exchange for the mic.
I can tell Bangs is equally as frustrated with the does not play in background as I am, John,
know,
on account
but
of the caps.
YouTube app is supposed to start playing in background soon. That's one of the things.
Well,
they've got.
here's the thing. It will play in background if you pay for premium.
No, but they're rolling out the one for everyone to play in background for everyone. Because
Yeah, but that gets rid of one of the main benefits of getting premium. Why the hell would they do that?
well, they've already announced it. It's going to be happening.
That's such a dumb
Oh,
move.
Sean says, I'm watching the stream from the beginning. No spoilers, please. Oh, Dylan dies like halfway through,
yeah.
buddy.
Well, he can't hear us. He can't hear us.
No, but the joke is going to be funny when he gets here.
When he gets here, yeah,
when
in
he
an
gets
hour.
here, it's going to be hilarious.
So speaking of which, I have a small funny story. So this week I was reading an article about that Facebook whistleblower, which we won't talk about too much. But I was reading an article about it.
Yeah.
And I noticed it was a Wall Street Journal article, and this is so stereotypical of WSJ, but like they made a reference because this person worked for Google at one point, and they referred to it as, back in the day when, X so-and-so worked for Alphabet Inc.'s Google. I'm like, so first thing, what other Google is there? The second thing, isn't it slightly terrifying that Google is owned by another company?
Oh yeah.
Does that ever keep you up at night? That kind of keeps me up. Like,
No.
I feel like Alphabet Inc. is just a pseudonym for the Illuminati. That's kind of what I feel.
Yeah, it makes you wonder when you're like, does Alphabet Inc. like that's a data mining company?
Yeah, like
ABC?
what else do you need? Like other than Google? Like if you own Google, like do you really need to be another company?
Well, but that's the thing. Like,
I think they just have another company probably for regulatory reasons, if I had to guess.
Red Cabin says, when I get my passport renewed, I'm going to dump some mics on your porch. Dude, anytime.
Nice.
Actually, I want to set up, I know Booth Junkie does this. Booth Junkie does, he's got a P.O. box and people send him microphones and then he sends them back. I think I might start that out because I think we have enough trust to know that I'm going to send you back your mic. I would like to think so anyways. So maybe I'll set that up, and if someone wants to send me one, I'll pay.
I didn't even trust you with that. I'm like, nope. If you can't get it back to me,
don't send me stuff in like bubble wrap. Like, and that's if you need to make sure that your stuff, and you need to put insurance on it. But I might do that because I like the idea of stuff like that because people are like, hey, I want you to review this mic. Well, I'm not going to buy a Neewer NW700 or whatever it is. I am not spending my own personal money on that. Sorry. That's just not going to happen. So, the Facebook whistleblower's attorney also worked for the other whistleblower I was referring to previously. His first name is Eric. Oh, Dylan, Zipfizz.
Yeah, I haven't. I was thinking about that like 2 minutes ago. I was like, I haven't been down in my mailbox in like 3 days. It's probably in the mail.
Okay. So, Dylan, are you going to say that you will drink this next week?
Yep. If we're doing a live next week, if there's no weird thing that crops up, yep.
We're doing a live. There's not. Well, there is might possibly. Okay, we're doing it. We're doing a live stream next week. I can 99% guarantee that.
I mean, I'd go down now and check the mailbox, but that's going to take like 20 minutes.
Well, knowing that I have this setup now, the setup that I'm actually working with, because I have a laptop, I can go out of town and still do a live now.
Midnight Wolf, I'm already hyper without. I haven't had. I'm on an hour of sleep today and no coffee, and I'm already hyper.
Bang says they'll send me stuff. Cool. Does it tick? Or is it like, do you need air holes on it? I'm just like, when you say stuff, you're talking mics, right? Just check.
I'll send you stuff. I'll put a paper bag of shit on fire on your doorstep.
Man, stuff could be a lot of things. I'm just saying. Asdas says you want the MKH 416. You have no idea.
I'm still waiting.
Really?
It's I've the order's there.
Buy it through?
My distributor in Montreal. They don't have any in stock, and I guess it's one of those things that, and for them, for some reason, is hard to source right now.
Red Cabin says, you were talking about carbon mics. Millions of analog AT&T phones have carbon mics. I'll make you one. I want to actually, part of where I want to go with this channel is there's a couple things I want to do. One, I'm doing a Franken mic. I've already come up with the name for the video. I've just got to get a few more parts into. I've also got to take apart my SM58 to make sure I can actually take the capsule out properly.
Careful.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be careful. But I want to start, like, I want to build a dynamic mic. I want to build a rudimentary dynamic microphone and see if it works well. I know this has been done before, but I kind of want to make it classy too. Like, I want to do it.
Then that's not rudimentary. It's either rudimentary or classy. Make up your mind.
It's still going to be rudimentary, but classy. Like, I want to put it in like, I think the
not hard. Just get some magnet wire and, get something to wrap it around.
The body of the AT2040 is going to host a lot of things. Let's just put it that way. Like, it's going to be hosting a lot of things in that body. And that's what I want to do. I want to start building microphones. Then I want to get into a condenser microphone. And I know that's like ridiculously difficult. However, I'm going to get my own. I'm going to buy the capsule, the K67 capsule, and I'll use that, or a knockoff K67.
I'd say if you're making your own capsule, I'd say the hardest part, because I've done it, or I was me and a few other people teamed up to do it once. And the hardest part is figuring out that magnetic sweet spot, the whereabouts in the permanent magnet's magnetic field to suspend the voice coil. That's the hardest part, because being being a quarter of a millimeter off from that sweet spot point will completely change your sound, which actually can be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, also, it's an interesting experiment.
I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun, but that's also like, that's in the future when I have more time, which I might have come January.
Hey, Red Cabinet Coops, absolutely, ribbons are actually easier. Provided if you can get like pre-cut ribbons, it's great, because trying to cut that micron thick piece of carbon is not particularly
no
fun.
way of cutting the micron thin.
No, if you can get ideally like some strips.
Yeah.
And I guarantee there's a company out there that probably does that. But that would be your best bet, because it's frustrating. I went through, I don't know how many, I helped out a buddy do it once, and you just, you touch it and it falls apart in your hands. Like,
oh, so this is a good one by Asdas. As much as you want the 414, I would take the 414 over, well, here's the problem with the 414. The 414 I would use for everything. The MKH 416.
You love that 414, don't you?
It sounds so good on me. The MKH 416 I would use as a boom mic. I don't know, I don't know if I'd use it for voiceover. I haven't used a 416 ever. I know I know guys like Mike, who me and Mike have somewhat similar voice profiles, it'll probably sound fantastic on me. I'm not worried about that. But the 414 I would definitely use for voiceover. Which, by the way, I'm entering a voiceover competition just because of shits and giggles. I sent you the link for it. It's for the Chargers, CBS. They're doing they're trying to get a voice for the San Diego Chargers, or are they San Diego still? Whatever they are. CBS is trying to get a voice, or the Chargers are, one of the two.
Like an arena voice or a on-air voice?
The voice of the team.
The brand
voice. Yeah. Have I gotten over that for the 102? No, the 102 does not replace C414. I love the 102. It does not hold a candle to the C414.
No, the 414 lineup, whether it's the XL2, the XLS, just straight up 414, it's in its own kind of little cubby. It by itself, it's kind of like the U87. There are better mics in the Neumann lineup than the U87. The U67, prime example. Yeah. But it has a cult following. Even though it's in the middle of AKG's range, it has a cult following because it's just so translatable.
Yeah, like they've got the C214, the C214, the C314, and nobody cares. Nobody wants that. They want the C414. And that's they're like, well, it's the same capsule. Screw off. If it was the same capsule and it sounded the same way, people would, like, one guy tried to tell me, well, it just doesn't have as many polar patterns.
Here's the thing, though, about condenser mics. Unlike, if you pull that argument out for a dynamic mic and say, well, it's the same capsule, it holds a lot more water because the shit in line between the capsule and the output jack is minimal. Condenser mics have a lot of circuitry in many cases between the capsule and the output. So just because it has the same capsule doesn't mean a lot. Just laying that out there.
The MKH 415 is a non-XLR version of the 416. You can convert the T connector.
It's true.
Beresford Productions, my dream video is Audio-Technica AT5040 versus AT5047. However, that's easily a $7,000 video. You know what? I'm getting more contacts with companies, and I'm not as worried about price. Like I've already nailed down contacts with Zoom Road, and I'm trying to work on the Audio-Technicas in a lot of those, but a lot of those places try to send you through dealers. So it's finding, it's getting in with the dealers, and it's like, hey, I can review some of this stuff. So
hey, maybe you should swing a deal with them, sweet talk them, and then you can do a review on the AT5040 and the 5047 for free, and then give them away.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at, does anyone want to see guitar reviews? Because my latest guy, I can review a guitar, no problem. Like,
same here.
Played for 40. Well,
all right, every second one you have to send me though, because I want to review it.
Okay. You could do the review. Like, you do one review, I'll do the other.
I guess first I'd have to review all the ones that I already have first, and then look at doing new ones.
They've got a lot of Schecter, which I know is a lot of people like. Take off, eh? Bob and Doug's 12 Days of Christmas giveaways.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, I know where you are in the video, Sean. this is
That's hilarious.
this is going to be the running joke. I
yeah.
love it.
Oh, that's amazing.
My name's Dan, by the way, Asdas. Oh, okay, Dan. Asdas was a random keyboard thing from years ago that stuck. Don't you hate when shit like that happens?
Yeah, I can say just Asdas.
Yeah.
Basically, really easy.
ASDAS, yeah. That's Dan, I'm going to try to remember that. Sean, who names their child Dan, by the way? Danny or just Dan would be easier. That's right under Dan saying that's my name. That's weird. Richard say, yay, off work and enjoying your stream. Hey, Richard. Cheers, buddy. Midnight Wolf retracted his message or their message.
Dun, dun, dun.
I've got to watch genderizing some of these people. So I can't tell who people are.
No, it's the internet. It could be anybody.
I know that I have 5% of females watch my videos.
Nice.
5% of the people watching are women.
It's definitely 100% Miss Ravioli. Definitely.
Oh, no, that's one. But, I mean, I've got 5,000, 5% of 5,000. What do I have, 56?
Oh, I thought that was view based. I didn't. Oh, so it's your subscribership. 5% of the subscribership is that. Oh, okay, that's different.
Yeah, that's not bad. So, I mean, what, 5% of 5,600?
I'm not doing the math. I don't feel like it.
Well, it's 56 is 1%.
I don't feel like turning on the APU in my brain.
It's probably I would say probably a couple hundred.
Hey, Google.
Wireless mic systems and why Shure keeps sucking when it shouldn't. Used Shure Wireless. I didn't have a problem with it.
don't agree. I've used the ULX, the Shure ULX wireless mics, which granted are, in the professional lineup, and they're great mics. I never had an issue with them. They're super reliable. Their range is crazy. They've like zero feedback somehow. Still makes no sense to me, but magic. But I never used one in a studio, put it that way. So I don't know if you're planning on using one in a studio. Maybe there's some weirdness there, but
Bangs. Mrs. Dark Horse, I'm guessing my wife, will bring another hot chicks. I have had a lot of requests for my wife.
Just savage. Love it.
So my wife did the NT. I keep wanting to call it the NT2A, the U87 review. And she's taken a different approach because she knows nothing about microphones. So now she's just explaining why you should buy the microphone.
Have you told Mrs. Aiden that she's become like a hit on the channel?
No, she knows.
Okay.
She doesn't care.
I
She
know,
doesn't
yeah.
care one bit.
Obviously not. Yeah. No.
It's she does it because she supports me. That's
I
it.
can picture the facial expression in my head.
Well, no, she's not excited to do it. She loves supporting because I've told her that she's also a feminist, so she understands that I want to do something so other women can see how mics are done. I'm not doing it for the guys. No offense, guys. The fact that the guys love it.
I was gonna say guys are also benefiting from it. Apparently,
Dan says the
we're
beekeep-
assuming. Again, we still have no idea. The classification of Bang's Naughty Bits. We have no idea.
Yeah,
so
no idea. Yeah,
it could go anyway.
Dan says the beekeeper thing was cool. That's what she's doing. Did you? So I had the
beekeeper.
BCM 104, and
yeah,
she said it looks like a beekeeper. It was
It does. It does. It does.
Made me think. Sean says made me think of Eddie Izzard's big on beekeepers. Nice. Sean, have you caught up? Have you decided to join?
I don't know what he's talking about. What is he talking about?
Because technically you said you were watching from the beginning. I don't know.
So Sean, I think Sean's reading the comments and watching them. So they're not. He's like paying attention to two conversations at once here. That's why, because he's like way back there. But I'm like, how you just talked about beekeeper? Why is that? And then it's a comment. That's why.
I got the 512 audio skylight the other day. Still seeing if I like it. I've heard of that 512 audio skylight. You don't do it for the guys, Mrs. Dark Horse, on the other hand. Hey, you know what? I have a beautiful wife. I'm okay with that. Any inappropriateness around my wife will not be met well. Either me
Understandably.
or her. But either me or her. She can be just as vicious
or
as I can
just
be.
by the general populace.
Yeah.
I would hope.
Hi, Sean. We miss you in the present. Awesome. Richard, how is it working out for you? Yeah, good question. I'm kind of curious. 512 audio skylight. I've heard of that. I actually have to go soon and eat dinner. That said, next week.
This beer constitutes my breakfast because I haven't eaten today. I have to get food at some point in the very near
right.
future. Yeah, I'm gurgling.
512 audio skylight. Yeah. I remember hearing about this. Why can't I visualize this?
Sean's like, oh, this is funny. We should, Sean, you should, once you get to this point in the video, you should do this every week. We should just have this this bi-directional discussion happening. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, you know what? Compliments are okay. Creepy, not okay. Red Cabin got it right.
But then there is such a thing as creepy compliments. So there's a line there, right? There's a balance.
I've gotten a couple so far that have, like, I had one person kind of toe the line.
Like, Aiden, your legs are fantastic.
Like, I'm not gonna be
Love those legs.
like, I'm not gonna, like, inappropriate comments like that are basically gonna get deleted. And,
But it technically is a compliment.
yeah.
So I guess creepy compliment.
However, I mean, I get it. I mean, it is what it is. We've been married for 8 years. I'm not a jealous fella. I don't really care. However, inappropriate, I do care.
Well, again, there's certain societal standards that everybody should be adhering to, and that is obviously one of them.
Yeah, the 512 Skylight. I have seen that. It's a nice mic. It's actually a very, very nice looking microphone I wanted to pick up. It's 260 Canadian dollars. So I think that was what stopped me, because I was looking at it back when I was doing the AKG lineup, the P series. So I will come around. I will.
You know my next
so
mic.
many friggin' microphones.
You know what my next mic is going to be? A Royer R10. That's going to be my next mic.
Yeah, Bandrew's been spouting about that one too. So.
I rented it, and it's a great mic. It sounds really cool. I love it. It's very niche, obviously, as every ribbon mic generally is. But speaking of which, did that? I'll ask you on stream. Just put you on the spot. How was that? Did that B-roll work for you?
Oh yeah. No, it was great. It was great. Yeah.
I was gonna say, you obviously, as we all discovered, you have the video ready apparently.
So, okay. So first of all, I'm gonna point I set it up as a premiere, but I didn't think it it offers you a premiere 2 minutes before. So that's what it said. It said 2 minutes before, and then people started commenting on the video, and I'm like, oh, it's already up. Because I had another video premiered as well, and I'm like, well, I thought it was just 2 minutes before. I don't YouTube well. What can I say? So I'm going to be setting premieres a little bit later. I apologize to anyone that's like, what the fuck? I'll make sure those videos are put up appropriately. I can just private them until like 10:30, and then I'll put the premiere up. So you're not looking at my video all friggin' week.
I didn't tell him it was funny. I was like, he's releasing a video midweek? What?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My apologies. The 3 times I tried using Shure Wireless stuff, it took a lot of the EQ and live setting. That isn't the microphone. No, those Shure Wireless, that was Midnight Wolf. Shure Wireless should not lose any EQ over a wireless band.
No, I found nothing. Like the ULX, I forget the exact name, but the ULX Shure mic that I used, that I used to use in live, like big budget live situations all the time, sounded like a 58. It sounded like a wireless 58. It was identical, except it had better gain. Like I didn't have to gain the board up as much.
Bang says, I only suggested Aiden get an OnlyFans. That's nowhere near the line. No, I've considered it. I'll show nipple.
I'll show nipple.
I don't mind showing nipple.
Yeah, you do.
Red Cabin says, I think Audio Hotline reviewed the 512. You know what? There's a lot of people that are really hardcore about Audio Hotline. And I had never checked out Audio Hotline's channel until because there was whenever
I've never even heard of it until now.
Whenever a company announces a microphone, can you send it to Audio Hotline? Send it to Audio Hotline. And Twitter just blows up with all these people send it to Audio Hotline. And so I finally checked it out. I've got to contact the dude. I think he's only got 16,000 subs. So we're kind of in the same ballpark. I might actually call him and see
some collabs.
Call him. I'll message him and
do
see.
some collabs.
Yeah. I want to get to know some of the community around. I'm already chatting with Bandrew, which is fun. I like that. Conversations happening with a few others. I've talked to oh man, my brain is complete mush after today. Anyways, I'm gonna reach out to Audio Hotline, see if there's anything have a little bit of fun with it. Might as well, right? It's all the community watching videos. They're all the same. A lot of the same people kind of flip between. I'm sure they have their favorites, and I'm sure there's people that hate me, love Podcastage, hate Podcasters, love me, vice versa, right? So,
I was just gonna say, if Sean, if Sean isn't a regular viewer, or audience member of these lives, I'm gonna be very sad.
no, Sean is. I think Sean's relatively. I started chatting with him a little while ago. I think relatively new. I apologize,
I
Sean.
don't remember having seen the name before.
Chatted with him earlier this week.
Okay.
Richard says, "Hi, Sean. It sounds good. Big inside address. Trying to get used to it. Yeah. I'm sure Bandrew is here. Hinter Shrimp. Bandrew might be sitting off in the corner. He likes to just sit and watch.
Observe and judge.
Sean says, I'm almost finished putting up my acoustic foam. Just a couple days of doing some recordings with my Shure SM7B, but I'm already thinking I can treat my space well enough for TLM 102. I just picked up about another $700 worth of the, what's it called? The good stuff.
Orlex.
Orlex. Thank you. Got another $700, and I've actually treated this room a little bit more. I've got more to go up, but I can actually already tell a difference. No, I'm on I'm on an SM7B.
One popular misconception about treatment is if all you're doing in a room is voice, you don't really need actually that much. Like a lot of people say, oh, you need ceiling nimbuses and you need bass traps and you need quadratic diffusers.
Music.
Here's the thing. Unless you have Sam Elliott in your room, bass trap is not required.
I did find, so there was a corner that's about, I would say 10 feet away from where I sit to do my videos. Yeah. And it's just off to the right. And I could hear my voice reflecting back from that corner.
I just stuff it full of crap and then you...
Well, no, I just put up some Orlex and I don't hear that tinniness of it coming back to me. And that's the weird thing. The more you sit in your space and the more you get to know it, you really hone in on those little pingbacks that you get your voice. So I think I've covered more of this room with Orlex than I should. Directly behind me, there's none. I've just got the panels, but I like the way it sounds. You don't need a lot for TLM 102. Like as long as you're not bare walls.
It's a condenser, so you want more than definitely what you need for like an RE20 or an SM7. Yeah. But
Sean says Bandrew won't be my friend. I tease him too much.
I know. That's what I was laughing.
I don't actually. I chatted with him a few times. Cool, down to earth guy, fun guy.
Bandrew or John or both?
Oh, Bandrew. I kind of contacted him because I wanted to do kind of a collab for something stupid, but he didn't have the time. I would really love to do a collab, but I mean, it's a little much asking. I've got 5,600 subs. Asking a dude that's like creeping up on 300K to like, hey, do you do a collab with me? Because I don't want to do it because I want to get more subs. I want to do it because I want to have fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing about this. That's why I think I'm going to start reaching out to Audio Hotline. There's a few audio guys that are a little lower down the pole that I might reach out to and like see if they wanted to have a little bit of fun with audio. The video Linus did on the Elgato foam treatment was insane. Yeah, it was actually, foam treatment does a lot of it really does a great job if you place it properly. Yeah. He did it very, very kind of lackadaisically. Like, just put a bunch of panels up here, put a bunch of panels over here.
There actually is a trick. Having played a part in some, so the trick is this, and it's different for if you're recording in a room versus if you're listening in a room, but it's the same idea. So you need two people to do this. So basically, you got to think of your walls. Your walls are mirrors. They're acoustic mirrors. Drywall is particularly annoying, and it's unfortunate that it's sort of become the de facto standard. But so one thing that we'll do during a studio build to figure out exactly, now you can do math, you can do acoustics math, but that often takes some time and some verification. A lot of easier ways, get a friend, sit in the position that you're going to be sitting to voice stuff with the mic in front of you. Get your friend to take a small mirror and walk around the room facing you with the mirror parallel, like with them against the wall with the mirror parallel to the wall. And anywhere, and get them to take a little Post-it note, and anywhere that you can see in the mirror and you can see yourself in the mirror, put a Post-it note there on the wall and go all the way around the room. And that is the best way, like quickly, to figure out exactly where your acoustic panels need to go.
Really quick here. We fell behind really quickly. Holy crap.
I know, I got slammed in here.
Bronson at Audio Hotline. Yeah, I'll reach out. Tom Buck reviewed it the other day. I intend to use my sound devices Mix Pre 3 for my recordings. Nice, Mix Pre 3. I still haven't picked one of those up. I should. It's like the go-to for YouTubers. But I'll use my Shure SM7 with my Focusrite for a live stream, maybe with a cloud lifter. You don't need a cloud lifter for live streaming, by the way. Just so you know. Bang says, I have unwanted
As
low
we
end
are
from,
proving literally right now.
Yeah. Bang says, I have unwanted low end from environmental sound need the bass traps. That is possible. Midnight, the video line.
That's a lot of bass. I mean, if you need low end just to deal with bleed, like, are you living under an overpass? Like what the, or like next to an airport?
Yeah, Red Cabin. There's a fascinating one. Red Cabin says, I've made more money in non-treated spaces recorded carefully than in my booth. And this is the one thing when I was getting into voiceover and I wanted to start doing like studio work for radio stations. I wanted to be the voice of the radio station, WMMI, Mid-Michigan's greatest hits. I was talking to Dylan. Dylan was like, yeah, some guys do it in their living room. And it made me realize that a lot of voiceover, outside of the Ford commercials and like all that stuff, a lot of voiceover is just done carefully. So,
yeah, and I think if you're using a dynamic mic, or especially shotgun mic, even condensers to a degree.
Yeah.
And I think really the deal is that a lot of people misinterpret what it means to treat a room acoustically. A lot of people think when you're treating a room, you're making it dead, right? You're rip out all the drywall and just make it. No, you want to nail down a lot of the slapback, a lot of the obvious early reflections that are particularly offensive, but you still, especially in a music context, you still want the room to sound lively. Yep. You never want a live room that sounds dead. Sometimes you want a booth, because the reason why you would sometimes want to have a completely dead space is if you have a single element that you plan on superimposing into a different space in post, i.e. putting reverb on it. So you don't want to have somebody that has room tone reverb and you've got like convolution reverb or plate or something after the fact. It doesn't sound good.
No.
So, but generally if you're recording in a live room, emphasis on the live. It has to sound kind of real, right? And if something's completely dead and surgical, same thing with the mixing facility. You know, the live end, dead end mixing philosophy of designing a control room often states that near the speakers, it's very heavily treated. Then on the other side of the room, far away from the speakers, it's more lively. And that, like $1 million recording studios do the LEDE, the LEDE implementation all the time, because it works and it sounds good and it allows you to make realistic mixing decisions. Because be honest, the people listening to your stuff are not going to be listening to your stuff in a vacuum, right? They're going to be in their living room. They're going to be in their car. They're going to be, I don't know, maybe at the gym or something. These big echoey spaces. So to make all kinds of mixing decisions. But for voiceover stuff, I generally recommend, record it carefully, treat your room tastefully.
Yep. Or just sit in a bunch of junk or in a closet.
Yeah, again, this room I'm in right here isn't treated at all. The only thing it really has is behind my system, there is a sort of a wall carpet of sorts. And then underneath me, there's a shag carpet on the floor. But in this particular room, I use 2 dynamic mics for VO, and nobody can tell.
Nope.
Nobody can tell because of how it gets processed in post. And when it's in the context of a million other things, as VO often is, you don't notice.
Okay. Oh, we're getting down here, Sean. I triggered Sean. Okay, let's get down to that. My strength is in tech. This is Sean. Background, so I need to compensate for my lack of performing experience. The last thing I want is bad sound or reflections and such, so I'm focused on getting solid stuff. Yeah, that's a good idea. And your performance will come as time. Performance is one of the hardest things to work on because you've got to do it.
Tech, you can, even tech, like performance still takes some time because you have to learn it. Then you have to learn how to do it. And that takes repetition.
Bangs, I'm so far down the pole that I'm in the basement. No, man, I already offered for you to come on the live stream. So, Bangs, you're not down the pole that far. Sean, a colleague convinced me to sell him my Zoom H4n a long time ago. I'd already purchased the H6. Okay, as a video guy, you can't do great video with the phone. No, you cannot. However, you can do video with the phone. And to be perfectly honest, You're watching a video with Dylan on a webcam that costs $100.
50.
50. I'm on a T7i, which is different. I've got lighting up and all that. Last week I was on a $100. You can do okay video, okay enough to get you started into the video sphere. You don't need to go out and get a video camera.
It's hard because it's kind of like when somebody tells me, it's like, well, I can get good audio from a Newer. It's like, as an audio guy, no, you can't.
Yeah.
So I can understand where Sean's coming from. At the same time, it's one of those things where if you're a good video content creator, you absolutely can create great content with a modern smartphone.
Mr. Beast
100%.
still does it. Mr.
100%.
Beast still creates.
Is it more work? Actually, I think it was a Peter McEwen channel thing a while back where Peter McKinnon, where he did a little experiment. It may not have been his channel. Somebody will correct me on it. But they basically did an experiment. They did two different things. They took a $15,000 camera rig.
Yep.
And put it in the hands of a novice. And then they took the iPhone 12. And they put it in the hand of like a professional cinematographer.
That was Linus did that.
Was it Linus?
Yeah,
I thought it was
I remember watching
I'm like,
that.
he may have mimicked it, but I'm pretty sure an actual video channel also did it. And what they found was the iPhone video, because it was shot with an actual person who understands shot composition and who understands lighting, it was done way better than the $15,000 camera rig.
Yeah.
So the gear is great, and it's certainly, again, I have a U87 in my booth. Can I get great audio with a mic that is 10% the cost of that? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just the U87 makes the job easier. That's all.
Here's an interesting one too. Red Cabin. So many people think they need a booth, but they sound boxy. Not all booths sound boxy.
Yeah. Closets sound boxy.
Closets sound boxy. Booths, if you know how to EQ your audio, and if I send Dylan audio from my, and this is the one thing, the amount of hate that you get for these, what are they called? The ISOVox. If I send Dylan audio from my ISOVox, it sounds boxy.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yep.
But Dylan, as a real producer, knows what to do with that audio to get rid of the boxiness. The boxiness mostly sits in 100 and lower.
Yeah, that little dynamic EQ band down there, little multi-band compression in that low mid.
The boxiness isn't going to kill you. If you require something like an ISOVox to get rid of some of the ambient sound and to control your voice in your environment, but it makes it a little boxy, guess what? A producer is going to prefer a boxy sound to a reverb sound. Every day of the week. Reverb on a voice is not going to sound as good as
reverb
boxiness.
You can't deal with. And a lot of people are like, well, Isotope or, RX D-Reverb. D-Reverb sucks, okay? I love RX. Yeah. It is irreplaceable for a few things. D-Reverb, there is not a single tool on the market because the problem with reverb is the sheer computational power you would need to strip out a reverb tail and not have it be noticeable is beyond comprehension.
You can take out the frequency, you can take out some of the frequencies. I've seen guys do that.
You can soften the reverb.
Yeah.
Or you can soften it, and a lot of times what I'll do is I'll soften it up and I'll put a little light expander on it, and then I'll usually bury it in the mix.
Yeah.
So you can barely hear that it's there. But if you're doing an audiobook,
okay, I gotta go. No, audiobooks. If you, there's nowhere to hide.
No.
Midnight Wolf. I did a class at Sweetwater. They talked about how people would be on a hotel room and do voiceover to send over a telephone dial-up, and it sounded just fine. Yep. Well, it wasn't dial-up. It was what was that protocol they used for that? Anyways, I'm going blank on that. Custom Grow 420 had mad views for years, only recording using his phone. Yeah, video is important, but. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. We went over that.
I think these days, actually, video, in many cases, because we are visually oriented creatures, video is often more important than audio. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
I will let you and Bangs fight over this.
What are we fighting over?
U87 is there to get more clients.
No, I don't have clients in here.
Beresford Productions, the Newer was great because it outperformed everything at its price range at the time it first emerged. Now good sub $100 mics exist. Some of them, P120. Fantastic.
It's not sub $100 though. I guess
no, US it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Red Cabin. I was talking about beginners thinking they need booths without knowing the rest. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
And spending thousands, Sean Webb.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I'm
or
always
instead of spending, $3,000 on good mic, how about you spend $3,000 on voiceover lessons? That's probably the first thing you should do.
All right, Alpha Gaming did the 7K camera versus a 500 camera. Okay, ISDN, thank you. ISDN, thanks. Later, y'all. I appreciate you coming out. Remember, memberships may have privileges at some point.
Yeah, at some point. Nice.
Love you guys. Thanks for coming out. We'll see you next week. We should hit the 5 o'clock mark next